There's a ton of things that Sundowns did wrong in this game. There's a ton of things that you point to and say that this was not a classic Mamelodi Sundowns performance. But they won. And that's all that matters. The result is in the bag. Sundowns didn't play the best football in this game. They didn't have the most shots. They didn't look dangerous. They weren't an 8-1 winning side. But up to this point, Miguel Cardoso has not only won all of his matches, he also has not conceded. This Sundowns team has not conceded since Miguel Cardoso took the reins. The result is the result. You can ask for beautiful football, you can ask for all of these different things, but all Sundowns does, and what makes Sundowns scary, is the consistency at which they win. Do you have Onya? Do you have Williams in goal? No. Onyang was there. He's got a clean sheet. Do you have Zwane playing? No. They're still winning. Did you create 700 chances? No. They still won the game. You see, this Sundowns team in the first half came out and you could tell that there were some players that aren't comfortable where they need to be. So if you start with the up front, Sales is not a striker. Sales is not a number 9. I'll say this every single day. He's not a number 9. He loves dropping back in, false 9, 10 even. So when you put him in line with the defense, right, it does play out. Ribeiro, wonderful pass for the first goal. It does play out that way, but that comes from the genius of Ribeiro rather than something that Sales has been doing over and over and over again. Did not do it again for the whole game, and it's not just up to him. Korisang is not a winger. So where we've seen Korisang be incredible has been when Korisang plays that false wing that Sundowns loves playing with Zwane, where yes, I'm lined up in a 3, but let me drop back. His best performance was when he was dropping in and Ribeiro and Reynolds were 2 up front. So Korisang as a ball player, also having him standing on the line, waiting for the ball to be played through and overworking Umashigo on that side, meant that Korisang was not in this game. That's something that needs to be fixed. When you move into the midfield, Obas, Mokwena, and Mudiba, someone needs to take responsibility. Alenda's gone. So now you need to have players that are going to put their hand up. How many times did we see in that game Sundowns trying to play out from the back from maybe a goal kick, and nobody's even putting up their hand to open up and run into the spaces? And when they do, it happens to be Mokwena. And Mokwena, as wonderful of a player that he is, that is not the role that he plays, and we saw him lose a lot of balls. In the past few games, he's lost a lot of balls because he's not the player that progresses the ball. He's a guy that protects the midfield, that plays a simple pass if you need him to play a simple pass. But in terms of him getting the ball, turning around, playing the ball, being that deep-lying playmaker, he's not quite that. And you see it in the way that midfield is very uncomfortable. Mamelodi Sundowns has a lot of spaces, so they're often very wide. So when they want to play that ball, it's mano y mano. You don't have cover, you don't have support, you don't have other playmakers, similar to what you'd have in previous systems that they've played. Last season, they'd overload the midfield. So Aubrey is not asked to be the primary midfielder, Umudiba. Mokwena is not asked to be the primary midfielder. But because you've got Kutsia, you've got Mudiba, you've got Alenda, you've got Zwane, all taking up the same space, the load is easier. When they lose the ball, when Zwane or Mudiba or Alenda or any of those players lose the ball, they know that Kutsia and Mokwena will cover them and win that ball back. So now we're seeing that those guys, Abu Opri, are struggling with having that responsibility in the center of the park. When you look at the defense, and you go into the defensive part of the game, I think they're still being pretty risky. What's interesting is that Umorena, when asked to play defensively, like to be a right back instead of a right wing back, we lose him completely. And what's interesting about it is that Morena's the best attacking right back that Sundowns has. Mudau is the best defensive and progressive right back that they have. But when Morena can get to the end and give you a cross and give you a cutback and give you an action, Umudau lacks it. So I feel like their roles have been flipped and it's kind of hurting Morena. Umashiku plays at 120 kilometers per hour, every single thing. Everything he does, you can tell that he just wants to accelerate. He just wants to accelerate. He just wants to go. Magal Trepper, his mind already is going there and he falls down and he doesn't, like he's a very messy player. I give him effort because he's actually giving them something, but he's a messy player. And I don't know how that's going to work out because maybe you prefer Lunga there as somebody who's a little bit more quiet, a little bit more calm, but doesn't quite lose the ball there. But yet, with everything we said there, Sundowns still won. Guys, I've been nominated at the TikTok Awards Sub-Saharan Africa in the Sports Creator of the Year category. Not bad for a guy who does all of his work from my dining room behind the couch. What also makes this cool is that I primarily cover the PSL. So to everybody who said local football won't get you anywhere, this is where we are now. But these awards need votes to be won. So I need you to go to the link in my profile. Don't worry, it's going to be anywhere you're watching this. If you go to the profile, you will find this link. Click on the Sports Creator of the Year and then click on the Vote Now button next to my picture. That's how you cast a vote. You can vote for me once every single day up until this date and time, the 31st of December at 1 minute to 12. Remember, this is the Sub-Saharan Africa Awards, so it's a chance for me to put a star on my logo, man. Because, well, hi. So my overthinkers, please ask everybody to vote. Ugogo nomkhulu, everyone who you can, because this is a chance for us to really state that South African football is something really important and can be taken seriously. Help me out. If we stick into the first half, I still feel like Unsundwana playing out on the wing is a waste of Unsundwana. I feel like Unsundwana needs to come to grips with the fact that maybe you need to be a striker. And maybe they play a 2 with him and Mbutuma. Mbutuma is a great player. What a box presence, what a finisher. But if you could bring the physicality of Unsundwana closer to the box, because what's the point of having him running on the wing and he doesn't cross the ball? He doesn't beat his man. He can't outrun his man. So now you've got a player who's got all these attributes, and instead of maybe moving him inside where, okay, if you want the ball at your feet, play with the ball at your feet by the defense, by the 2 center backs, and try to do something there. Give Khoza some physical issues. We've seen how Sundowns struggles physically. To Richard's base credit, similar to Amazulu, was it Amazulu last game out? They played. They came out. They gave Sundowns. They gave Sundowns something to think about. They hit the post twice. They had more shots on target than Mamelodi Sundowns going out of the first half. In the second half, when they came back in, I think they made the same mistake that the Amazulu made, where it's almost like they became happy with the result. 1-0 versus Sundowns. That's unheard of. Let's keep it here. We're doing well for ourselves. Instead of pressing maybe a little bit more, being more positive, trying to get something out of the game, they kind of just relaxed. And by the time it's 2-0 now, and the one goal you'd want to score is not enough, and by the time they're pushing, it's too late, it's done. And that is the wonderful, scary, and amazing thing about Mamelodi Sundowns. By the time you wake up, it's done, it's too late. By the time you decide that you want to play, they've scored their 2 goals. Played badly, scored their 2 goals. Because the other conversation we need to have is, guys, we may say that Sundowns has dropped their level. But if your standard is going from here, coming to here, whereas most of the teams are here, is that really a drop? Abu Mangoba were moved out. He was number 1. Coach Caruso is number 1 right now. So can you afford to have a comfortable game versus Sundowns? And are they doing that thing where it feels like you've got a chance? It feels like you've got a chance. Maupapama is 2-0. The 3 points is gone. And while Sundowns had maybe a poor some players were having a poor game of it. When Reyners came on, when Matthews came on, hey, it looked a bit different. They played that RMR football that we saw and maybe giving glimpses. So, in as much as I give Richards Bay credit, they played, they were crossing balls in, which seems to be Mamelodi Sundowns' weakness. They were crossing balls in, they were getting to it, they hit the post twice, they played an open game. You have to go win these games, especially when you're number 15. Because Sundowns, regardless of how poor they're playing, about whatever they're doing, they go and they score. I want to talk about one of the bright sparks, two bright sparks of this game. For another week, Khoza just looks, hey, I could say, man, let me find this khoza. Khoza just looks majestic. Just looks majestic as a centre back. He's not loud, he's not doing crazy things, but the decision making that boy possesses. The decision making, the calmness, you know, the way, like, even when he's under pressure, man, he doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't look like he's being rushed anytime. Is incredible. Now, Sundowns is leaving him exposed a lot of the times with that back to him and Grant, or him and whoever is his partner at the time. They get exposed because Sundowns pushes everybody forward, and sometimes it becomes an issue. But what a player. I am waiting to see him. Go bafana bafana. But then the star of the show. Over and over and over and over and over again, when you watch Mamelodi Sundowns play, Ribeiro. Ribeiro coming inside and playing 10. When you let him play that 10 where he gets the ball and he can make decisions. We often speak about brains in football. We speak about having a brain in the midfield. Somebody who pulls the strings, somebody plays. Ribeiro does that so well. Actually, I should start on the fact that he doesn't lose the ball a lot. Very good technically. The defenders try and he doesn't give up that ball easily. But when he's in the 10 and he's playing the passes, when he's in the box and you give him a little bit of room and he curls it into the corner like he did for the second goal, that's just another class of player. And I think that just highlights how few of those players we have. I mean, think about it. Zwane can play the 10. Zwane can pass. Can he finish like Ribeiro? Mfukeng is coming into the 10 for a Pirates. How many goals has he accounted for? Not to say he's a bad player, I'm just comparing. How many goals has he accounted for? Utito, last season, one of Pirates' most important players. Are we seeing the finishing? Are we seeing the balls? Are we seeing the assists? All of those type of things. Guys, Ribeiro is on another level, and he'd probably be my vote for Player of the Year, if not for Reyners having such an incredible year himself in terms of finishing. This is what puts Sundowns over the top. This is what separates Sundowns from a lot of teams. That you've got a player like Reyners when all the chips are down and you're playing badly and you haven't come to the game and Sales is not playing and Kolisang is out of it and your midfield can't progress the ball. You don't know where Aubrey has gone. Mokwena is losing balls. Morena is in a cage. You know, when all of those things are happening, to have someone who in a moment can go, I'm trapping the ball, I'm putting it through. And I'm going to put it through in such a way that you're going to score. To have somebody that there's a little bit of pressure, traps the ball, takes on his man, finishes a player, puts it into the corner. It's incredible. And what's scary is that Ribeiro seems to be playing in gear 1 or gear 2. Some might even say he looks lazy. But the 3 times that he puts his head down and he says, I'm doing it, is better than the 7 times a lot of other players need in games. And it's so rare to find a player that can play when nobody's playing, but then can also, when everything is clicking, and Reyners is on the pitch and Matthews, RMR, that football we were watching, when they're on the pitch and he's playing it through and he's controlling the game from 10, to have those type of, an adaptable player like that is very rare. I mean, I just spoke about Mokwena. Incredible, wonderful player. But now he's being found out in that he's a specific type of midfielder. Now when you give him the responsibility of building up and playing the ball and doing all the stuff, he loses the ball over and over and over again. Adaptability. Again, remember, I'm not saying he's a bad player. It's just not in his skill set. But now you find a player who can hurt you from wide, coming into the box, who can hurt you from inside as a 10, who scored, I believe it was a goal where he ran in when it was him and Reyners up front as a 2. That is insane. And to still have the technical ability. I am actually scared of what Ribeiro will be if he decides to take games seriously all the way through. That's going to be a very scary player. But in any case, Mamelodi Sundowns wins again. Mamelodi Sundowns maintains their top spot. They now have 11 games played, 10 wins, no draws, 1 loss, for a grand total of 30 points. They've scored 22 goals and they've only conceded 4. 11 games, 4 goals conceded. So in as much as we complain and we talk and we say what's happening, they're winning. They're winning. So unlucky to Richards Bay, I think they leave this game similar to how Amazulu left their game, where maybe they'll be thinking that they should have gotten something a little bit more from this game. But that's what happens when you play the champions. That's what happens when you play that level of a team. You feel like you played. They feel like they won. And they continue winning. So, well done, Mamelodi Sundowns. I'll see you guys on the next one. Sorry to interrupt the video that I'm sure you're enjoying, but I just wanted to say thank you for all of the support that you guys have shown me and my Overthinking Football platform. I'm a one-man band that's doing all of this, and I really do enjoy the comments about how, you know, Supersport needs to come fetch me and SABC and all of that stuff. And I think it speaks to the quality of the content, but also the amount of effort that I put in. So I just wanted to say thank you. But the truth is that Abu Supersport and all of those guys, yes, we're competing with them, but it's a completely different place. The sponsors are looking for former players, and to be honest with you, running some of these things is getting so difficult, and things have changed at home. So financially, it's a whole different world. So I wanted to try something new and come to the overthinkers, the people who watch the content, and say it would be incredible if you guys could contribute monthly towards the platform, towards keeping my lights on, but also making sure that all of the crazy things that I want to do, that I want to take Supersport on with, I can actually do. And just for 20 Rand every month, I think that would be an incredible contribution if you can make it. It may sound like a little, but if we can get a lot of people behind it, then we'll be able to carry on doing what I do. I'll be able to carry on giving you the content and also expanding it, because we don't have shows like this, and us content creators need help from our audiences. So I just came here to ask you if you can. Here is the account number that you guys can use in order to contribute. And I think, yeah, I'd be very grateful if you would. But anyway, let's get back to the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.